Spoštovane kolegice in kolegi, predstavniki občine, policije Medvoške, starši in vsi drugi zainteresirani, ki ste prišli danes večer na ta enkraten večer. Enkraten večer bo ratal ne zaradi nas na odru, ampak v veliki meri zaradi vas. Namreč naša ideja je, da spodbujamo skupnost, da gradimo skupnost v Medvodah in del tega je tudi naše srečanje. Tako da že od te točke naprej vas pravzaprav spodbujam k temu, da boste aktivni, ne zgolj pasivni poslušalci, da se boste vključevali in tudi za ta namen je še kakšen mikrofon več. Ampak, ker sta naša dva gosta iz tujine in ne razumete našega jezika, od tega trenutka naprej bo ta večer potekal v angleščini. Prevoda nismo omogočili, ker drugače bi dogodek trajal 4 ure. Tako da upam, da se boste znašli, če bo kakšna zadrega, bomo pomagali, ampak tudi to je del skupnosti, da en drugemu pomagate v primeru, če pride do kakšnega nerazumevanja ali pa nejasnosti. So, good evening. This was my introduction in Slovenian.
Do we trust you?
I don't know. You don't know what I said, so Urška will translate you later in the car. So maybe there was some mischief. Okay, so my name is Matic. I'm here psychologist in a local primary school in Preska, also part of or member of the Initiative for Mental Help for Youth in Medvode. And there is okay that I introduce you very shortly, and then we go to the main event. On my left and on your right is Tamara Neufeldom, mother of 2 daughters, live in Vancouver, Canada. Just correct me if I'm wrong, because this is from your website. Also the author of this book, which we don't have in Slovenian translation, Reclaiming Our Students, but a professional clinical counselor, and your weapon of choice is pen. Is this right? The classical pen? Yeah? Okay. And you like to spend your time in the woods. Anything more?
Very good.
Yeah, this is from your website, so, okay. And as you maybe notice from the surname, she's also a daughter of this gentleman on my right, on your left. This is Dr. Gordon Neufeld. Oh yes, and Tamara is also academic dean of the Neufeld Institute. Now we have this Neufeld Institute also in Slovenia. But welcome, Gordon. You both are here for the 2nd time in Slovenia. Yes. You were invited by the Novak Djokovic Foundation 2 years ago or 3 years, something like that. Yeah, okay. When I heard that you will be our guest here in Medvode, there was just one mantra that was going around my head, and it's relationships matters. And so I'm circling this, relationships matters, relationship matters, because this is for some of my colleagues also mantra how to approach youth and also all clinical work, okay?
Absolutely.
Anybody who doesn't know Gordon, you can watch his speech of TEDx Vancouver on the YouTube and also other clips. We have his book, Otroci nas potrebujejo. So in the original, how is the original title? I have to write it down, everything, so. Do you know the original title of this book?
Yes, in English it's Hold On To Your Kids.
Hold On To Your Kids.
Why parents must matter more than peers. But the Hold On To Your Kids doesn't translate into any other language. It's meant to be more of a metaphor. It works in English,
yeah,
but it doesn't work out. I think it's almost 40 languages now, and every single language had to find some way to work around it. But what it means is basically it's up to the adults to preserve the contact and connection, the togetherness, to do the work of relationship, not for the children.
Yeah. Okay, this book is in Slovenian translation, written by Gordon and Gabor Mate, whom you probably know, I think. And this book was one of the materials for this evening. This evening will be very, very practical, okay? So that you can bring home something that is important for you, that you can use maybe tomorrow or in next days, not so theoretical, but we need also theoretical approach. So the other book was from Umberto Galimberti, the Nihilism and Youth, which I also like. So these are 2 major books that I read now in the preparation for this evening. Okay, so the schedule. First, I will try to put some question that we have, the main question that we have here in Medvode. Why we are here? Why is this title? Why violence and vandalism? Because of last events here in Medvode. And our question, from my point of view, is that we try to do something and we don't know if this is right or if there will be some good results. So we are a little bit in confusion. This is our question. It's very abstract. It's not very concrete. But yes, this is the question that today I'm coming here. But to approach this question, this is the scenario, we will make 3 rounds. So 3 cases, different cases. So in each round, I will explain a little bit of this case. Then I will ask Tamara and Dr. Gordon, both of you, for some thoughts or some ideas. And at the end of the round, there will be your place and time to add something or to ask. Then we will go to round 2 and to the round 3. I think I have some good timekeepers here in the second row. So if we will be too long, there will be signs like this and this and so on. So if you want to go home, of course you can go home. You're not here on pressure, so there is no need. But we will try to be as practical as we can be. We have 2 hours maximum, and let's not waste our time anymore. Okay? Round 1. This is a case of the school class. So there is a class of 5th grade. In Slovenia, this means that this is children of 11 years old. There were acts of violence all the time. There are some kids, mostly boys, who are violent during the class, and the teachers cannot provide pedagogical process anymore because all the time there were some distractions, there were some things, usually from the point of violence, between these small kids. The school asked the help of the Initiative for the Mental Health of Medvode, and there was some counselor working with the class, and there was a huge, let's say, impact on everything, but the result was that the parents said, this is not helping us. So anyhow, there was a lot of effort into communication, into understanding of the kids. So I can say the community of parents said no. What to do? What to do now? You can ask me other questions regarding this case, but...
Is there an understanding of why the parents said no?
Yeah. Yeah, why they didn't greatly accept our help, because we are so good professionals and we know what to do.
Oh, do you have an idea of why, though, they said no?
Well, my ideas are mostly that maybe some of the approaches were too much for them, that the balance of the, let's say, relationships between them was a little bit shaken. And also that probably the ideas that went through some workshops and so on, that kids brought home, so the parents didn't like the ideas, because they will have to change something. I was not prepared that you will ask me questions. So
I have a question too. I'm just asking for just clarification on what did you try? What was the approach? What you mentioned workshops. So was there a workshop that you did with the whole group at the whole classroom?
There was supervision of the teachers and also pedagogues that are working with the class. There was one counselor that was on demand for the class if even some of the children, some of the pupils want to go out of the class and to talk, and there was a crying or something. There was also, let's say, theoretical explanation of the violence, of what's going on, it's what's going on. But still, we approach of some kind of wall with parents that we didn't. Maybe it's, I don't know how it's with you in Canada, but here we have very usually that parents have their Viber groups, which...
Their what groups?
Viber. Technology. Viber. So they... Chats, WhatsApp. And in these Viber groups, there is a lot of toxic communication. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So in that Viber groups, there is a lot of talking what, wow, you are doing wrong, so the school is wrong, and so on. But You know, now why I use this case is that because we are usually in Slovenia, we are this triangle. There are children, parents, and professionals in school. And it's very common that we become enemies.
Polarized.
Yes, this is not uncommon. I think this can happen for a number of reasons, and some of the reasons may be that parents feel some shame around it, that they're being found fault with, and that teachers and professionals are pointing the finger. Also, a problem can be that parents are being held responsible for their children's behavior, but the children aren't taking their cues from them. And so they know that they're helpless, but they're still being held accountable. And if they can find some reinforcement for others to not have that help, it's difficult when parents and teachers and helping professionals are not coming from the same page with this, just as it would be if mom and dad aren't coming from the same page, and because you share custody of the child. And that custody is forced by the government, and many parents aren't happy about that and don't even know that they're not happy with it, but it's really hard to trust. Of course, in Canada, we've had huge problems with our colonization and Indigenous, where the teachers really are the enemy. There's no question about it. And so in those kinds of cases where I have any consultation, any involvement, we try and restart the village from top down, instead of in the situation where the teachers and parents need to establish connections, have meals together, have their social dances together, where it's not about kids and kids, it's about those that are there. You're establishing the connections. It's the same thing. It's just you can't really work with children who aren't attached to you. When you lose them, you have no power. They're not interested in being good for you. If they attach to their peers, they're trying to be good for their peers. And so just because just because we love them, just because we have a role of responsibility, doesn't mean we have any power. That comes from their attachment to us. It's a bottom-up arrangement. And so we need to rebuild it. It would seem to me, if there is adversarial relationships here, if you are on the opposite side, you're not going to reach the children. They're going to fall through the cracks here. And they're actually, it sounds like they're tribalizing on their own. They are beginning to follow each other, taking their cues from each other. They're probably taking dares from each other with regards to vandalism. Of course, graffiti is all about that territory, making their own statement. They have certain clubs, certain colors, and so you have this kind of tribalization. But the real challenge is not battling against the symptoms, because you'll follow the symptoms down and you can't make any headway. The real issue is being able to take a step back and say, well, we've got to start by rebuilding this, and so that parents and teachers and helping professionals are on the same page. We can't start with saying something negative about a student and expect a parent, like parents will either, if they agree with you that the problem is with the child, they're disloyal. That violates all the attachment rules. We mustn't do this. We don't have that authority to do it. If you don't say something good about the child and hold that in, or put it another way, if the child agrees with you and takes your position against the child, heaven help that child. What kind of help is a parent for that child when the child is a source of shame? And so it's a very difficult predicament. And again, it's not starting at the kid level. It's not starting at the student level. It's actually starting with rebuilding the connections of trust and attachment and connection with the adults involved.
Okay. Would you like to add something? Because I have further questions about it.
Yeah,
or
well,
ideas?
just what comes to mind is when I was, well, significantly younger, probably about 30 years ago, I was working with a lot of youth, what we would call high-risk youth, and through different community organizations, through military services and whatnot. And one of the things I didn't understand back then was the importance of all being on the same page and on the same, coming from the same place. And I am very aware now of how my relationships that I was forming with these adolescents, with these young youth, I put myself in a place where I became a competition with the parents. Inadvertently, it wasn't on purpose, but I wasn't aware that this was not actually a helpful thing. And it made it more difficult to be able to find solutions that worked for both the parents and I was there just as a youth worker at the time, but it put a wedge. It put a wedge between the parents and the educators even at that point, because we weren't all working from the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And now I understand how important that is, and what Gordon was saying, how important it is that we at least appear to be coming from the same place, so that there is not a further divide, because that it falls through on the child, where
Yeah.
the child then is not receiving that.
I will just now share with you some anecdote which is 20 minutes old. Some of the girls from the crew said, yeah, good that the parents are here, but not the parents we would like that they are here.
Yes,
I
of
think
course.
this is a usual thing when we do some meetings with parents. Now we invite everybody
Yes.
via email, and then we go through door and say, here is they're okay, but where are the kids of this one? So my question is really how to approach this, how to make this relationship, because my thought is that the peers have their own community. Also in this class is very strong peer-to-peer community which encourage each other about the violence. Yes. And there is some community of parents which we as professionals cannot approach. So what to do? How to invite them into relationship and explain to them, we are not dangerous to you, we have the same goal.
But this can't be done in a group situation. There can't be when you automatically divide into groups of parents and teachers. What we have in common is the children that we care about, the children that we yearn for their potential, the children that are in trouble, that have been lost to, fallen out of cascading care. I mean, obviously these kids are very frustrated. Things aren't working for them. They're full of foul frustration. They feel like smashing things, hitting things. They feel like doing this. They're kids that are troubled, but they have no idea what it is. They're following their peers. Peer relationships don't work. They don't feel safe. They don't feel taken care of. They need to be embedded in families, grandparents, parents, in cascading care where they can get a sense of identity. But this is built from the top down. You can't, of course they're not going to show up. In Canada we have a huge refugee a system, an immigration system, and they're always the last ones to show up in any kind of school setting. And again, if they usually come from third world countries in which there's a great deal of shame when their child is pointed out as being a problem, and a great deal of what we would call denial in the education system, what for them is simply loyalty. Because it functions in terms of that attachment wise. So the question, though, is really important, is how do you rebuild this? And I see that it really is about being able to organize the kind of social activities where it is not obvious what you are trying to do is to build the connections, to collect, get the eyes, the smiles and nods, say something good about the individual you have in common.
Shall we food?
Yes,
Food?
absolutely.
Because
you
we
start
usually
with the
go
very
with the
basics.
title, school for parents, and parents don't want to go to school anymore.
Yeah.
So why should I go? I'm 40 years old. Why I should go to school?
Well,
Come on.
food is the obvious thing. If there's other cultures and
Sports?
ethnic groups and
Sports?
theater.
Okay.
Theater is a beautiful mix
We are in theater
where you
now.
get their adults involved. You get this. There's different ways that you can do this, but the focus is as you begin to develop individual relationships with the parents and the teachers, and that begins. You break down the cliques. You break down the tribes. Tribalization is happening when you go, well, I belong with those I'm like, with other psychologists. Oh, heaven help us. With other that. Here obviously you're rather homogeneous in your color, but with other color or other political ways. No, what we have in common is our children, but we have to find a way of connecting in this way. And
do you like this? Yeah. Okay. That's great. We're on the same page. At least here in the theater.
Yeah,
that's
right.
good.
Right, but this is where it is. It's finding the rituals that you're going to do something that's happening every other Friday night.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing where you connect. Nobody knows what the purpose is, but those of you that are really wanting to make a difference know. And it's where to do the personal work, to make the connections, to talk about this, and then it goes down. What is it? How can we include the students in this? How can we include this? And it's knitting the generations together again, because their needs will never be met with each other. But how do you bring that back so that you can get proper cascading care? Because it never works when we lose our children. It never works.
Sorry, both of you, do you think that mostly, not mostly, but sometimes professionals were too aggressive to the parents? Like, we know what to do, and they don't like it.
Yeah, well, anybody that comes across as an expert, I'm allergic to that personally. And I think we can have the best of intention, and I remember that my younger self, I had all kinds of good intentions with it, and I really did think I knew better than those parents, which, I'm kind of laughing at, but I'm very ashamed of now, because I didn't respect that there was a whole culture, there was a whole, yes, there were troubles, there was a lot of dysfunction in a lot of the families that I worked with, but those children, they needed their parents, and they at least needed to not be against their parents. And what I've found over the years is this idea of once we get to know somebody in a different context, that's not in I am the teacher, I'm the parent, I'm the helping professional, but we get to know them as people, then there's less us and them.
Also, we have, because Medvode is quite small, we have a lot of our colleagues that are in double role. So at one point they are pedagogues and they have children in the school. So they can experience these two roles, like, okay, here I'm trying to teach somebody, and then I'm on meeting with some other teacher and he's teaching me how to do with kids and so on. I don't know if you experienced it, but probably it's not that easy that you have to sit on two chairs. Okay, also you said that, okay, people from other countries, here in Medvode we have people who are mostly, some of them are from the former republics of former Yugoslavia. So people from Bosnia, people from Serbia. We don't have that much Roma people, but in Slovenia now is a Roma people like victims of, guilty of everything at the moment. Also people from Kosovo and Macedonia, like Albanian people. And this can sometimes make this, I don't know if you agree, but that some people are shameful of being here and not being completely able to integrate. Because of the language, because of the cultural differences.
Well, it's also a phenomenon of attachment. When you have when children are embedded in cascading care, with adults who care for them, they can feel the care from their teachers, their parents, and adults. And the more that is so, the less likely to recluster around those that are like them. this is the most dangerous, most polarized, is when we start revolving around those that are like us rather than those who care about us, care for us, and those we care for, because that's the natural attachment infrastructure in society. It's always hierarchical and cascading care. As soon as children fall out of this cascading care, the attachment distress causes them to reattach through sameness, and then you get polarization, tribalization, you get racism, you get homophobia, you get all kinds of things about gender hostilities, and all of this happens, and it's so subtle. We begin to fall into this alignment, and screens self-select for likeness rather than for caring. And so screens are the enemy as well. And so you'll see these kids start re-tribalizing, like a Lord of the Flies scenario, around even picking certain colors and certain graffiti patterns, and they belong to certain schools of graffiti. And there's all kinds of schools of graffiti, and now they have all of these instruments by which to gather together. And so we look at this and we say, well, what are we going to do? We're increasingly polarized in our politics, in our race, our color, our clothes. We're increasingly polarized in this. And
Please, Gordon, don't talk about polarization one day after general elections. We don't want to go there.
And there's that too, right? And there's
okay.
that too.
Yeah, but sorry, you write a lot about the polarization of attachment. Is this right? Is this
Yes.
correct? So, if I understand correctly, there is a way that some of youth are connecting much more attachment to the peers.
Yes.
And they lost the connection with the parents.
Yes.
Why?
Can I
Why?
interrupt here for a minute, because a story comes to mind that I think would be really helpful here, and it's in my father's book, where you talk about the elephants and the tribalization that happens.
Go
I
ahead.
don't know if that's a helpful story that you.
Yes, you want to tell the story?
You want to tell the story?
Or you
Well,
Or you want the
Me too.
I can. You can step
You
in
can-
and help.
Okay.
But the story was these elephants that became orphaned, and they were separated from their caregivers. So both the parents and
I see. I remember it better than you because I wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was just introduction. So
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks.
Okay,
Now
follow up.
I'll
Follow
follow
up.
up.
Well, do you want
up,
to take
yeah.
that? Because
Yeah,
I
I'll
just think
take
it's a really helpful one, because I keep thinking
Well,
of.
Yes, there was it was a albino rhinoceros reserve, but there were a lot of elephants on the reserve.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
No, it was a special reserve,
Oh,
but there
okay.
were elephants on the reserve. This is in Africa. I forget the particular place. But there were too many elephants here, and so they called the elder elephants. And when they called the elder elephants, all the juvenile elephants, the adolescents, re-tribalized in peer groups, and started attacking both each other and the rhinoceros. Is all of a sudden you got this violence breaking up that had always hadn't been there at all when there was proper cascading care, proper lineage. So what they had to do is bring in elder bulls, elder cows, elephants from neighboring reservations to be able to calm this whole thing down. And so it's just an example is that we respond to the kind of bullying and violence that's going on by trying to get kids to be nice to each other, having programs and so on. But often we miss the fundamental issue that has happened is that the attachment infrastructure has been broken. We don't have the proper sense of belonging to those who care for us rather than belonging to those that we're like. And kids are particularly susceptible to this. And then you get this violence breaking out. We don't know why. All this interaction to each other filled with foul frustration. They want to hit things and smash things. Maybe they won't do it themselves, but as soon as they start regrouping into gangs, like a Lord of the Flies situation, what happens is the young ones, the younger ones in the group, the 13 and 14-year-olds, they have to pass initiation rites. And that may be to destroy a statue, to rape a girl. That may be all kinds of things. These initiation rites are horrendous. And it's the way the prisons used to operate. I used to work in the prison system. Now it's come into our public school system. And our public school system looks a lot like the prisons did 30, 40 years ago in that way. And that's why it's scary. It looks absolutely scary. Like what is happening in small towns and villages all over Western civilization. What is happening here. But again, it's knowing, what is the way back? The way back isn't just following the symptoms. The way back is that we've got to re-embed ourselves in the cascading care relationships. We got to win them back. We've got to start. It's a relationship, again, as you mentioned right from the start. It's a relationship issue. And our children aren't in right relationship with us, and we're not in right relationship with the other adults that are caring for the children.
Okay, thank you for the story. I really like the book. This is not kissing up. I really like it. And one of the things that I really like is that one of the sentences, maybe I will not correctly quote, but that these relationships between parents and children are all the time the same, but the context is different. What is with context now? Is this the digital world that is really influencing our relationship so much? Because we are all the time talking about digital, phones, digital, not digital, information that coming. Is this the context of the 21st century that it's so much influencing the relationships in this triangle, professionals, parents, children? What's the context now?
It makes it a lot worse. This was always there. There's no question that it makes it a lot worse. We're still under the illusion that these are instruments of information. And in fact, we call this officially the information age. And so our technology is the instruments of information. But that's not what our need is. Our brain throws away 95% of all information it gets. Our brains are very old. The last thing we needed ever is any more information. We are creatures of togetherness, and so we took these instruments and turned them into creatures of instruments of togetherness, instruments of connection. But they don't serve cascading care because we are not WhatsApping or whatever it is, our elders. It's each other, and so it becomes a peer-based world. And so, yes, there wouldn't be social media unless there was peer orientation. Mm-hmm. There simply wouldn't be social media. There'd be nothing to drive it.
Yeah, okay. We're coming to the end of the round one, and now it's time for you. What do you want to add? What do you want to ask? Is there something that you don't agree with? I know this is a little bit out of the comfort zone of Slovenians, because there is nobody in the first row. I can come a little bit closer. So, yeah, okay, this is my sister. So, we are in family, so this is... Thank you.
Did you plant this question?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yesterday was Sunday, so we rehearsed a little bit. So everything is planned, so thank you. Thank you for noticing.
Is it on?
It is.
Okay. Okay, as far as I understand, we have to somehow build connection, safeness, respect, and solidarity. I think it's a big task. Maybe for Slovenians or... Yeah.
Well, not so much solidarity. Yeah. It didn't mean on being on the same page that we agree. I just meant that there is a sense of connection there. And with that connection, there's greater safety to talk about the concerns, the problems with the children, to be able to share that. And when you can trust that each other's heart is there for the kids and for the best for the kids, and so the fingers don't get pointed. We are trying to do our best in terms of raising our children. We all are playing a part. This is a very awkward invention, or that we've moved to, that we farm out our children to be raised. This is only something we've been doing for 200-300 years. It's just a tiny blip in human civilization that we farm out our children. We don't know how to do this very well. We don't know how to give our children away. They feel like they're being stolen from us. And so we have to find a way of being able to do this. But the first thing we do is just like is that relationship, and if we can eat together and smile at each other and collect a few dots and just like this right over here, well, then something happens, and in that connection we can discuss some things that are there, but it's not like groups. Again, as soon as you got a group of experts, you got a problem. As soon as you got have a group of teachers, as soon as you've got this, children divide themselves into grade 5s and grade 4s and grade 3s and into girls. Like everything is by groups, and this is not how we're meant to do. This is attachment distress. So I don't mean that we agree with each other. There's something that transcends agreement. And so it's not solidarity, it's just basically connection where we can kind of feel the yearnings that we have in common. And at the bottom line, the yearnings, if we can think of the child properly, will be for the unfolding of their potential. At least we can be and agree on that.
There is one very good small short clip of Gordon that we don't have a need for survival, but we have a need of attachment. Okay, Ksenia.
I would just like to ask, why do you think that the connecting adult to adult, the connection between adults is so hard for them?
Why is it hard for us?
Yeah, because we are talking about the connection between the adult and the child, and well, I have a feeling that we are not able to build that community between the adults. It's like it's very, very hard to build a connection between the adults. So I'm just thinking, why?
Yes. Well, first of all, in our education system, we've drifted outside of the natural village of attachment. It's not organic anymore. We get educated as teachers, educated as professionals. We have a role. Most of us are paid by the government in one way or another, or through the taxes. But it doesn't come through. A more natural way is if the parent introduced their child to the teacher, they were allowed to introduce, they were honored in this place. And the grade 1 teacher introduces the grade 2 teacher. Everyone is introduced through the system. This is a natural attachment system where you are added to through the place where you are actually fostering another connection because you believe that they're no longer competing with you. The problem in our society, the problem with competing attachments is if your spouse gets, how should I put it? I'll try to be nice, Slovenian here.
You're not that nice, but okay.
Okay, if the stepmother is rarely introduced to the children by the mother.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and this means it comes from the outside, which means she is the enemy. Which is the reason the stepmother is the most vilified person in all of children's stories and so on. Well, that's the same with the teacher. That's the same with the expert here. Why? Because we're not building these attachments in a proper order through introductions, through matchmaking, through being able to do things together. And so it's bringing back those kinds of things. You have a relatively small town. You have the ability to be able to do the fetes, the festivals, the things like this, that where you mingle, you do things together, you dance together, you have cultural exhibitions together, you do theater together. You have the ability to do this where you can re-knit your community with proper respect for the elders and then bringing in the kids, which is a very special thing that you can do when you're small enough to organize these things.
Great. Do you want to add something?
Can I just add something?
And then
just
to
brief.
you? Then to you, yes. Okay.
It's just to say, as I'm listening to all of this, to reiterate that it's taking it outside of the context where the tension is.
Yes.
And bringing it and bringing it into a different context, because that's where those relationships can have a chance of forming. When it's too tense, when the emotions are running so high, that's not the place for it.
Come tomorrow at 5:00. It's cool. It's cool. It's a little bit.
That's very.
That's
tense.
really okay. Can we go to you?
Hello, yes. So thank you for this. I'm very happy to be here and to listen to this conversation. So my thoughts are the following. Nowadays, we know so much about so many things when it comes to education, but nothing seems to work. It's amazing how much we theorize, but my thoughts of what's happening, maybe you don't know Slovenia as much. I mean, the current situation, not going into polarity, not that. No, not that. But the thing is that Slovenia as a society is quite homogeneous. Up till now, it has been very homogeneous. If you compare it to European countries, we've never had many immigrants and so on. We have fire departments, we have churches that function. I mean, we have communities where people really come together, and fire departments in Slovenia, there's not almost a country in the world which would have so many voluntary centers of fire departments. So we do have centers, but somehow I feel as modern beings now, when the society is changing so much, our roles of who we are unable to see our roles or function. I have a feeling that, because I'm a teacher as well, and I work in a small school in a local place, and I changed that for international environment, and I see it's like a completely different perspective of relationships and of everything. And in the international environment, I was used to forming relationships as a teacher to the parents without feeling any burden. I could be myself, but here I feel I have to negotiate so many of my, it's just a question of mentality that we have to kind of find confidence or a way. Yeah,
Is
a
there
way
a
to.
question?
No, but I feel
it's
this
just
is
a comment.
It's a comment.
Okay.
Yes, I said it was a comment from the beginning.
Okay.
But just something, I think, an aspect that is important in this thing. Yeah.
Can I comment on your comment?
Thank you.
Comment on a comment? Yeah, of course.
That I think it's very easy to drift into a role-based society. And when you have a homogeneous society and everybody knows their role, and the role is scripted. So if you're a doctor, you're a patient, a teacher, and student, and they're all scripted. But underneath this, if you have a functional society, you'll have the relationships that actually provide the context in which to execute your roles. When a society starts falling apart this way, the roles remain, but you don't have the relationship to support them. And it's those relationships that are always underneath. And you're absolutely right, is you've got to start from square one here. And that's what I'm trying to say in the book, is that parents thought they could parent because they were a parent. Well, good luck with that. If your child isn't attached to you, you have no attachment power. The child isn't trying to be good for you. They'll be following somebody else's orders. What parents didn't know, what teachers didn't know, is the relationship, the attachment of the child to them gave them all the natural power to execute their responsibilities. It's a bottom-up arrangement that our brain has, our attachment brain. Our attachment brain cares nothing about the role you have in society. It doesn't care whether you're the teacher, the parent. It doesn't care whether you're the king, the queen. It cares nothing. Only that the child is attached. And if the child is attached in the dependent mode, you have the ability to do your job. And that is the hard part to get. I have 8 grandchildren. My 7th grandchild, I was going to be very involved in her care. She decided that Nana, Joy, my wife, where are you?
Somewhere.
Okay. Was
She
the most
listened to you all the time,
yes,
and she went to a
decided,
coffee.
Yeah. The most important person in her life, and I was the one who took her away. So I got on the other side. I was considered the enemy. Now, so she was not attached to me, which meant that I couldn't take care of her. Now, that's rather ironic because I'm considered an expert in the field in Canada. I've written a book that's translated into 40 countries. I've had 5 kids. This is my 7th grandchild, and I can't take care of her? No, not because I don't know what to do. Not because I don't have the responsibility. I wanted to be the best grandparent that I could ever be for her, but because she was not attaching to me to enable me to do that. And this has always been hidden in our society. And why I wrote the book is because we need now to flesh it out. We're losing our children, and we can't get them back by trying harder, by loving more, by getting the right thing, by Googling how to parent. We can only get them back through winning back the attachment to us, and so we need to get reconnected. And so this is the ultimate story of
I have at least 5 comments to your comments, but I don't think we have time. I will be very short. One is that for the first time when I was in London in 1993, I saw the community that I really liked. So people yellow color, brown color, all together. It was like, wow, why don't we have it here? And if you remember when Slovenia was leading the European community, we have a meeting of the leaders of Africa and I think the Pacific in Ljubljana, and when the leaders of these countries were going to the hotel, there was a lot of calls to the colleagues of police, like the black people are coming to Ljubljana, but this was the presidents of the country. So I don't know where we are, but I know that we are not so prepared for differences, because just 1 month ago I have a workshop in Kran with people from gymnasium, so secondary school, and we come to the Roma people, and majority of the pupils said, we need to kill them. And I said, why? I said, like, have you ever seen a Roma person? Said, no, but I know from the social media that they are not human, they're animals. So this is what we have a problem here, I think. This is a comment on your comment, I think, but here is one question more in the 3rd row. By the gentleman? No problem. It's just an effect. Yes.
I think that the basis of communication is how we perceive ourselves. I'm a forester, and forest works for the benefit of all. And we also have this basic goodness in us. And when we recognize it in us, it's easy to recognize in others. And that's the basics of communication. I would suggest communication first between the teachers and between the parents and between the faculties, not one to another, but between them. Because how are you? What do you think? Are the teachers heard? Are the parents heard? Are the children heard? Does anybody listen? I wouldn't think so. And the next question, can we listen to ourselves? If we cannot hear ourselves, if we cannot recognize ourselves as a basic goodness, we want good for us and for others.
Okay.
But there is a perception that we have that at the end we don't do good. So I would suggest circles of talks on the schools, only teachers, only parents.
Okay.
But I see you as very attached to your trees. You see, when I hear you, I hear that you're attached to this and attached to nature, and that's why you trust it. And it isn't your communication first. It's that you really believe in that, and that's when you're attached to somebody, you'll tend to like them, you'll tend to believe in them, you'll tend to trust them. And so to do the things that does this, but I'm glad that you're a forester and you believe in the forest, because that would be terrible if you didn't. And there's so many foresters who don't.
Okay. Oh, 2 hands. Oh, no round 2 or what? Okay, let's go. We have time. Please, I think you were half of the second before the colleague here in the 6th row.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Yes, I'm a mother and a primary school teacher. Where I see the problem is that many teachers in our country are afraid to connect. And many times I hear when I talk with them that we are not here to first to educate or do the connections, but we are first here to teach. My approach is that I first see a kid, then a pupil, and I see their problem. We are afraid to be together and to connect in a way that we feel vulnerable, sensible. For example, I really like to connect with parents, and I can say for myself that I have really small problems with them because I really hear them and I always tell them that I need them in the sake to connect with their kids too. So this approach and belief that this is the answer to that togetherness is the basic. And I'm asking myself, how can we here try to
Persuade.
convince
Convince or persuade.
yes, our colleagues that this is the future and this is real and that this have a big positive impact. Thank you.
Well, I think you nailed it right on the head. It's education was never meant to exist outside of connection. Everything that we understand about education, the child opens up to influence only from those that they're attached to. Most children learn more in recess and lunch hour from those that they're attached to than teachers. Children learn more in their first 4 years of life than all their formal education put together through those that they're attached to. So everything is that education belongs inside a connection. It's easier to do. It's told that Socrates was being challenged on the Socratic method. And this is by legend. And he was saying, well, if the Socratic method was so good, then why isn't this particular student learning? He appears not to be benefiting from this at all. And Socrates is, by legend, is told to have had an immediate retort. I couldn't teach him. He doesn't love me. That intuitive understanding, just says, oh my goodness. He knew this was the beginning of education system, the system we should be following, classic education, and not the Austrian model, as is here in Slovenia and Canada, but it should be the model. But they had this already this understanding that education belongs inside connection, not outside of it.
Okay. No. The last one is the call. You have your chances. We have to go to round 2, or we will be here till midnight, and this won't be good. So this is the last one for the round 1.
We're only up to row 5 yet.
Yeah, I know. But we cannot be till tomorrow here or whatever. Come on. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. I actually come from a very tightly knit community of homeschoolers. So we are connected and we're on the same page. And I have a very concrete question regarding a group of and we have classes built in a Montessori way. So there are 3 ages together, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds in the first stride. And what we are observing, and also have concluded with the parents who have observed similar, is that these girls are playing out the relational patterns of their parents with each other regarding fear, belonging, strategies that they use when they feel excluded and stuff like that. And it's of course overwhelming for them and also for the parents. And I am lost in ideas on how to approach. And thinking about the theory of attachment, what would be valuable advice for me and for them? How to approach something that we are aware comes from the parents and we see in dynamics of this group. Thank you.
You have the opportunity in a homeschooling co-op like you mentioned here to be able to spread out the age group, which is a more natural thing, the grade 5s being responsible for the grade 2s and so on. When you do this, you don't have this realigning themselves in this way, which puts a lot of pressure on their relationships that they aren't meant to. The best case scenario, especially in homeschooling co-ops, is being able to bring the cascading care where you have the older children taking care of the younger, and then the elders fit most naturally into that.
So the 3 ages is still too together, too much together. So if there are 6,
Yes,
7, and 8-year-olds,
they're too close together. It's just like in a family. Everybody wants to have their kids close together. Well, it's hell. The competition, the possessiveness, all of this kind of thing. If we had a little bit more time, we would be able to spread them out so that they naturally move into taking care of each other instead of into these very strained relationships in which they're not meant to have that responsibility.
Tamara, you want to add something?
Well, it's not needed. It was just what you were saying at the end there, because I was part of some of these groups, and it was helpful to have the different ages separated out, and sometimes also to bring in different parents to take an interest in, the different groups, that the parents would take turns leading something and developing relationships with the other children, so it wasn't left always to the children themselves. And so it is finding those different combinations of people that takes the pressure off of that kind of
But
yeah.
Even in our school systems, even though we find it much more efficient to put them with the same age, it's a huge mistake. And if we can bring into our school systems, do the matchmaking, just like we're doing the matchmaking with teachers and parents, we're doing the matchmaking of the older kids in the school with the younger ones and helping them take some responsibility. It really slows down the interaction between the peers, the hostility goes away, all the attachment energy goes into a caring function rather than a competing function.
Okay.
If I could just add one thing to
Why
that
not?
too, because I think of with one of the schools, I was working as a school counselor at a school where there was a child in grade 5, 11 years old, similar age, and there was a lot of problems with bullying in the classroom, with him bullying others, and we worked to actually bring in an opportunity for him to care for a younger student, and I know my colleague Eva, who's here on our tour with us, she talks a lot about this as well, where we're matchmaking with this. In this case, it was a reading program, so it was a younger child in kindergarten or age 5, and learning to read, and the softening that happened with this 11-year-old child in helping a younger student to read, it brought out so much confidence in him. He felt so good about himself. The bullying stopped with his peers, because it was all about that competition. It was all about the self-consciousness. It was all about defendedness. But when you brought it into this natural caring for someone younger who was in need, it brought something else out of him. And I've seen amazing things happen in all different kinds of stories where there's a softening that happens. And so I think about, just coming back to the original question, right?
Yeah,
of
it's okay.
this grade 5 classroom, of how do we get them involved in something that's not related to that classroom at all, but something else.
It's great to end the round one with some optimistic, because now we are going to the dark places. I take a look at the watch. We are at the halftime of our event. You have been so far great audience, very active, not very common for Slovenia, which is great. So I decided that I will combine round 2 and 3, because it's the same problem. Now we are going to the public places in Medvode. It's about vandalism and about violence in public places. So probably you know that during the New Year's holidays there was acts of vandalism here in Medvode, like burning the plastic toilets, remote toilets, and graffiti, and of course fireworks and so on. But also I think of, let's call the Fight Club here in the marketplace, very near our cultural home. So in Tržnica, Medvode marketplace, there was a group of 30 to 40 young people who gathered usually on Friday and Saturday and fight to each other and so on and so on. And then in Medvode we sit together and we have some ideas how to approach this. And one of the ideas was to form a street work team, very small street work team. One of the members is here somewhere, and they talk, like youth workers, they talk to these kids what they need in a, let's say, our environment, and they said things, very, very important things, like, you don't want us to be on the screens, and when we go out, it's again not okay, what shall we do? And so there was let's say 10 days ago, it was like some kind of optimistic, our feeling like, okay, we are going somewhere, and the acts of vandalism went down. But then, first, 10 days ago, there was a concert of metal music here nearby in Jedro, and came a group of 15 kids. They came into the concert, and they tried to make some quarrel, and then they went out and they beat up a member of a concert, attender of a concert, and he was brought to the emergency room. He's okay, as far as I know, but they were waiting for him, like 15 kids, somewhere near the concert place. Police was called, and I think just one of the boys was identified. It went in the group a little bit of bad feeling, like we are not doing right. But immediately, 2 days later, during the night, here is a famous sculpture of Medvode, famous sculptor Rotar, who passed away years ago. And this sculpture of quite big value was demolished. So this sphere with a center was, the center was brought out. I think it was thrown in the river, one of the two rivers that are here. But the municipality of Medvode fetched this artifact, but it's not on the sculpture anymore. So the whole group now is questioning what we are doing wrong and what to do now, because we are stuck in this situation. There is a little bit lack of motivation, as I see it. Like, we approach them, we talk to them, and now, it's like they're doing this. We actually don't know who these kids are. Probably most of them are not from the primary schools of Medvode. There are 4 schools, primary schools in Medvode. Maybe there are 15, 16, maybe dropouts, and so on and so on. But the question for you both is what to do now. We really need here, we need some let's say, direction.
If I could just start by saying, don't give up.
No, we are stubborn. That's one point.
Because I think
it's
that,
okay.
when I think of that kind of group mentality, it reminds me of a time, and it was around, we have this Halloween celebration in Canada, and where children dress up. I don't know if you have that here.
Yeah, we have it.
So children dress up, but it also can be a very dark time, because with the youth that we were working with, and we thought that we were making great strides. We were building relationships, and then all of a sudden Halloween came, and this group of, this was before the internet, but this group of teens got together like a mob and started overturning cars all in this little community that we were in. And it almost, you said we don't know who these children are. It's like they almost don't know who they are when they're in that place. It's like, I think of the riots after hockey game that happened, and all of a sudden people are finding themselves just part of getting caught up in this. And I think of that, I think we can often focus too much on what's happening and that the fact that this is happening, but as soon as you get that many people together, they might not even know who started it. I think of the Starlings that go, and then you see them with the formation. It's like they're in there and it's moving. It's how do you keep that group from forming? How do you make individual relationships with the kids themselves so that they don't find themselves in that position? That's the tricky part, because technology now, it's everywhere, and they're communicating with each other, and there's all of this competition, and this it just fuels it. So
yes, it enables both the flash gatherings,
yeah,
and then this stuff goes on YouTube, where there's a lot of support for this kind of violence and so on, and so it's immediately whoever can do the most horrendous things, it fuels that. When I was working in prison, I was working with very violent youth who all fantasized shootings and destructions, and it was just so fortunate they didn't know of each other, because it didn't fan the flame. Nowadays they all know of each other, so you get these individuals full of foul frustration, haven't had their sadness about the griefs, the tears that are there. There's so many things that they haven't experienced their sadness about in this world, and they're just so full of foul frustration. It just feeds them this kind of thing, and they want more and more and more. And stricter laws obviously don't do anything. Putting them in prison only makes criminals of them. Of course, you've worked with this. I mean, this is always, if you react to them like we just put consequences to it, it doesn't do anything. It just fuels it even more. So the challenge really is one by one, how do we embed them in this? In a particular school program that I have in my book called Knitting the Generations, an example of this. When they were having trouble, these are big inner city schools that they were having difficulties with children that they had lost control of, and so as they brought in grandparents type old age from old age homes who had a great valence. They wanted somebody to love to make cookies for it, to teach knitting to. Literally they taught knitting to, and they would arrange these things whereby these grandmothers, grandfathers would teach some of their skills to some of the kids that were the greatest difficulty. They were labeled as high-risk kids. And there was a discernible difference within 3 months' time, a testable difference of how everything of this slowed down, connected down. Because again, they were being embedded in this cascading care instead of this tribalization that was taking place. That once it gets going, you have a really hard time stemming that tide. And so it's the same as before. It's the other problem. Is that these are horrendous. They violate our sensibilities. We see this violence. We don't understand it. What is this all about? And yet this is the degree of frustration that is among our young people. It is foul, and now it is fueled by those who are aiding and abetting those kinds of things, just like cutting and burning themselves. There's so many sites on the internet, or if they have suicidal inclinations, so much to reinforce it. And so we're forced to go back to retreat to the issue of relationship to be able to address the root problem here. It's not working for them. This isn't working for them. They're not meant to tribalize this way. They don't belong with each other. They belong with the adults who care for them.
I have to share with you my personal frustration about these events. One is because it's 15 on 1. I can accept fights one-on-one. I'm used to it.
Oh,
also.
yes.
But for me personally, it's like, okay, waiting for somebody, because I was personally on this concert with my wife, and we went home 20 minutes before these events. And it was a great concert here in Jedro. It was like, okay, but why 15 on 1?
Why this
and
mobbing?
Again, like we talk with for the cultural home crew, why to go on a sculpture, which is there where two rivers combine, because Medvode means in Slovenian 2 rivers. Yes, you understand that. Also is our sign. For me, that's why I went to Galimberti, and there are 3 points that I want to add that Galimberti is written about. It's like moral apathy. I don't know if we are talking about moral apathy. Apatia.
Moral apathy. Yeah.
Lack of responsibility and egocentric indifference. These are the terms that the author is putting out, like a bottom line or footnote of this generation or zeitgeist.
That's just a symptom.
Yeah, that's just a symptom.
Yeah, it's a symptom.
But why?
It's not the bottom line.
So how to approach? Why? It's a boredom.
When they're attached to each other, they're following each other's orders. They want to be significant. They want to be valued.
Okay.
All of our human things are the same. It's being answered in the wrong way. The more violent a 13-year-old is, the more sexually active, the more revered by their peers. And so it's to label this from our society is not appropriate. That's not the problem. These are kids. They also have the potential to become fully human and humane. It's not moral apathy. They are they are trying to measure up to the values in that tribe.
Okay, tell me more about it, because in Slovenia now is also in Medvode, there is one point of social media, the police have to do their work. We have to lock them down and put them in a prison immediately, because we don't want this in our community. This is one way. And the other, which I really hate, deeply hate, is some of my colleagues are trying to persuade others that these are young psychopaths without any moral, and they will have to lock them up also. And I'm really in fear that this line will prevail.
Well, I go back to the forester.
Yeah.
The forester here is if you don't believe in the goodness unfolding in this way, this is important to trust in this. If you lose that, you lose everything.
Yeah.
And to label them as a psychopath or moral apathy is not to understand what it is. When something isn't working for you, when you become defended against your feelings of caring, then you don't give a damn. You don't care. And we see that and we say, well, there's a psychopath. No, this is because our society is broken. That child has fallen out of cascading care. Their heart has hardened. It's not soft. That can come back, but it won't come back by pointing our finger, by labeling them this way. In all my work, even with very violent youth and young adults, I didn't see psychopaths that could not be reversed. Now, I know, I'm a clinical psychologist. I know the literature. The literature says a psychopath is beyond recovery.
Yeah.
They can't. That's what the literature says. But I'm a therapist. I saw individuals recover. And the research only tells you what the norm. It doesn't ever tell you what can be. It just tells you the norm in that situation. When we give up hope, and back to the forest, when we give up here, understanding the goodness that is underneath, the fact that they are wanting to be accepted just as much as any of us, but they're going to the wrong answers. These aren't the answers. When there is a relationship of taking care of somebody who depends upon them, and they have an elder that all of a sudden they're looking forward to seeing it doesn't matter what they did, it just matters that the relationship is there. It changes them. When we go to the prison with hardened criminals, what is the single most important factor that is changing for them? It is relationship, we know that, but it is also in terms of when we bring Shakespeare into the prison, when we bring choirs into the prison, because in those places, one step removed, they can start feeling again. And these are the answers. Here as well, it is back to theater and getting them involved. It is back into choirs and getting them involved. Like, we do have the answers, but we need to bring them back into the places where they feel cared for and can bring back their caring. Otherwise, I mean, inside, you can just feel it. I don't give a damn. I don't care. It just is exuding out of them this place that is so hard, it's so bitter, and it's so destructive. But that is because they've fallen out of cascading care.
I don't know if I'm speaking now for the whole of the audience, but thank you for these words from my heart. I think we need this. I don't know if you agree. I think we really need this. Thank you. Okay, I will go a little bit further, a little bit positive. Ideas of our youth, they are out and they're violent. What they want to do? They want to have a rage room. They want to have a rage room, so to smash things. You too? Okay. Me too, okay. Okay, wood to chop. And maybe they want a place where they can hang out under the roof, where it's a little bit warmer, listen to some music, and to be on an easy chair. So very easy ideas, nothing that's special.
This is a good direction.
Yeah.
Certainly, it is a good direction. Some of the places I've seen in different countries with the graffiti thing is they actually put special places with all kinds of plywood up where individuals can compete with each other and so on. Have graffiti contests. It's giving it an inch so it doesn't take a mile, instead of trying to keep it from happening and then it takes over. And these are good things, but there would need to be enough of a relationship to bring them on side with that.
Yeah,
otherwise it's just a fuck you.
Yeah,
Or do you ever say that in Slovenia? No.
Yeah, we say that. Also, we have very good talk with the colleagues from the football club here. What about the sports? So there is some sport which is very competitive. What about the sports which is on the, let's say, lower level? When you just play something, there is no need to go on a game, but you just go.
Well, sports have always been the instrument. You listen to the stories of Harlem or in New York or inner city. Yeah. What is it that saves a kid? What is it saves a juvenile from this? What is their hope? It's in a place where they belong, like in this, and where there's mentors involved, and yes, street sports, sports that give a place for that. Yes, absolutely.
And now we have Luka Doncic, who gave for Los Angeles Lakers 60 points to... Okay, no. Yeah. Okay, sports, art, just hanging theater. We are now in the theater. So maybe now is the time also for you to add something. Maybe some ideas, or what do you think about it? What do you think about vandalism here? What do you think about violence? Okay, let's go again. Another round. The last round, and then we say goodbye. But not immediately.
I'm hoping this is maybe connected somehow, but it also has to do with my example from our community. So the boys that I know express a huge lack of role models of adult, mature, masculine energy and a yearning of spending time with adult men in familiar relations, but they're just not available, such as uncles and grandfathers and whatnot. So do you have experience of building intentional groups that would fill this hole, especially for boys in their lives? And how do they form, and where could men that are willing to shape those kind of groups start?
Well, sports is a natural thing for those. I think theater is also a natural. Hiking wilderness experiences is a natural there. The wilderness, the hiking, you have glorious mountains here. Mm-hmm. Just glorious mountains. I mean, those have been some of the most successful programs. If you can actually get individuals to come in that with a mentor,
Well,
that is the best. And there are programs that involve that, where it reconnects a father with children, with a guide. Tamara.
Well, also some of the students that have been through like counseling training that I had done, there was an organization called Take a Hike in the Vancouver area, where it was young men in the school system who would come parallel and would take those that were really struggling and take them on hikes, take them to different places and build those relationships. And so, yes, I mean, if we can do this within the family context, wonderful. And if not, there's other ways. There's other people. I think Big Brothers is an organization in North America. I don't know if it's here at all. But with that idea of taking, Urshka has her hand up because she might know some of these.
Okay, maybe we Slovenians have to remember something that we already had in the past. So our colleague, also he's dead now, Bogdan Žorž, made an older therapeutic approach during climbing. So climbing, I also climb, so I know that this, when you are on, naveza, Slovenians, but when you're on a rope and you depend on somebody and you have to guide somebody, okay. So maybe we can just go to the same things that we did 20 years ago and went again, because it was okay. Urška.
Yeah,
Just a comment here. When we bring in men who are not maybe fathers, so it's like role-based mentor or something, there also needs to be this what comes after when our experience is over. So there's, because many times teachers won't want to connect, mentors won't want to go deeper into relationship because then the child will miss me or it will be hard to say goodbye. So I just want to add to the continuity that it's not just one-time experience, it has to be.
Yeah. Also, I will add something to Urška, one of my colleagues, psychotherapist. She said very good thing. There is a line between something that I share that is personal and that is intimate. I would like to share personal things with the youth, but not intimate. If you don't share personal things, then there is no connection. So what is your advice? How to go very close, but not too close? Because if I understand you correctly, if there are boys who are lacking a father figure, if you want to say, and then some good mentor came, it can be trouble in a way, or not.
I'm not.
That it could be some confusion. You know, take me home, or would you take care of me?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. I mean, you get a taste of something.
Yeah.
You get a taste of something that fulfills there. But the beauty of attachment is it moves quite quickly through the levels of being with, being the same, belonging, to being significant. And when there's emotional connection, you're at the level of a relationship. And when you allow that to happen, the relationship doesn't end when you're not with. The relationship can continue, and you can be part of that village, even though you don't, of the child's village, the teenage village, because they can experience in that relationship, they felt believed in, invited to exist in the other's presence, that they mattered, that they were important. And so that can last with you, even though you're no longer with or in an activity. And about the sharing, the sharing is important, but it's much more important what they share with us than what we share with them. And in being able to share our part really is only important as we can normalize their experience. I have a bit of problem with frustration too. Sometimes I feel like yelling, and whatever it is that comes alongside that they know we're all in the same boat, that is there. But yes, it's important that you we're not taking our own needs to be met there. Yeah. We must be the adults in the relationship. But they need to feel safe and depending upon us. And part of that is knowing that the relationship doesn't end when the activity ends. And that is something that you can communicate. I'll be thinking about you. You'll have a special place in my heart. I know when your birthday is, look out for a card from me. You can always provide a way to the next connection without being in the activity, and that establishes a relationship. Once you do that once or twice, that relationship is there. We all have relationships with teachers we may have not seen for 20 or 30 years, but that relationship is significant.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that this whole idea of matchmaking and when you do have that relationship, that you're able to potentially matchmake to others in their life that you might see. And a big role that I had as a counselor was to see who those people were. Could I try to help matchmake to that uncle or grandfather figure down the street, or someone that I saw had some potential there that just needed to maybe take a little bit more initiative that would be more long-term in their life. And so both matchmaking to other people, but also matchmaking to some of those things that might be outlets for them, might be release for them, the things we were talking about, whether it was the theater or the choir or the soccer or music. What could it be that way? And often I'm trying to facilitate for someone else who might be running that program or offering that is more long-term as well, because it's part of a year your drama program or something like that.
Just sorry, there is. I think there. Maybe you will agree with me or not, but there is some fear with Slovenian pedagogues that if you give them your personal number or you get in a contact, there is too much. You know, phone number, Instagram, WhatsApp, and now the kid is writing me at 11 p.m. because he's neglected. So
Yes.
this is not my job anymore.
No, and I think that's appropriate to have that, but it's more the way we are with them. We have very basic attachment rituals in all cultures that are important to use when we're especially involved with children. One of them is that we collect them before we go to direct and educate and so on, is that if we can't get their eyes, smiles, nods, that is the greetings we would always with our friends, we don't interact with our friends until we have evidence that we have indeed engaged their attachment instincts. That is just our cultural manners, and so we have these greetings. How much more so should we have with our children and our students? And when we feel we matter to them, when there's a connection there, we have a responsibility when separation comes between us, when they go home at the end of the day, when a behavior has come in between, when we have a problem. We have a responsibility. The goodbye ritual is the ritual where we take the focus of their attention and not put it on what divides, but the next point of connection. I'm still your teacher, I'm still your dad, we'll be okay, I'm looking forward to dinner tonight, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Those two basic, there's three basic rituals: collecting, bridging, and matchmaking. They're in every single culture. And it's very important that we use that with our children. We use it intuitively with our friends. That's not a problem. We forget with our spouses. That is a problem. And we certainly are not bringing it back into these should characterize our school, our relationships. And so it's not whether they can call you or you give out your number. Yes, that isn't it. Do they feel the invitation to exist in your presence? Can you collect them? Can you get a smile, a nod? Do you have a sense that there's a bit of liking there? If not, why would you expect to have influence on them? Why would they open up to the influence? Why would they want to be good for you? This is all a function of relationship, not your role. The government gives you your responsibilities. Attachment gives you your power. And so we need that power to be able to do this. But it's that part of being able to, again, going back to the title of the book, hold on to them. If you've got a relationship, then preserve that connection. We have ancient cultural rituals to do this. They're part of every single culture. We have a way. We can do this. But we have to know that it's important.
Sorry, where are you? Any more comments? Because I still think about two things. I don't understand why they demolish our sculpture. Still, I don't understand. But maybe we don't give this answer why the kids are demolish the sculpture. I still don't get it, but this is my personal thing.
No. Don't you ever feel like hitting and smashing things?
But not art. Maybe this is my
But
personal
that's-
thing.
but that's
Well,
where
it's
the-
art
go on
to
the
you. It doesn't mean it's art to
Ashtrays
them.
and
But
recycle bins and
I would
maybe
see-
the stop sign or
I would
something.
see
But the art,
kids
come
in
on.
prison
Yeah,
taking the only belongings they had and totally destroying them.
yeah.
When you are frustrated, it turns foul and you feel like smashing. It may not be art to them, but also the defense that is at the bottom is that when you are getting hurt, when nobody cares for you, when you don't matter, it is everything detaches and then nothing matters.
Yeah.
And you just feel like hitting and smashing and destroying.
And even more so the things that are important to
Yes.
the people that they're not
Of
attached
course, this
to
was
right
my
now.
small provocation because I know this. But just the people to hear that these kids are not mean.
No.
But they just have a lot of frustration, a lot of tension inside.
Yes.
And there is a sculpture on the Sotočje of two rivers, and it was there.
It was there.
It was there.
It was there.
It was there. So, okay, where
And
are
now
you?
it's not, yeah.
What about the last rows? Active listeners in the last rows. Not
Yeah, just
the
because we
first
can't see you doesn't
hello.
mean you don't
Yeah.
exist, right?
Yeah. Hello.
I will give them the microphone.
Yeah,
Just want to give a comment. I was working in a residential home, actually 2 different kinds. And I'm just going to share this one experience. I was working in 2 different groups. First for 3 months in the first group, and we were really close with this one boy. I think he saw me like his mother, but it was only 3 months, but we grew really close. And in another group, I was working for 1.5 years, almost 2. And of course, we also grew really close with this one guy who was hurting himself, and his mom didn't really care for him the way she should. So we really did grow really close. But later, they were about the same age, and they went to the next residential home when they were high schoolers. And we met accidentally. I don't even know how. I was working at that time in a kindergarten in the city center. I don't know why. That day, in that moment, I looked down 2 floors lower, and I saw a group of youth. And I don't know why I looked at them some more, and they were the group from this other residential home. And I saw my kids. I call them my kids. Not just those 2, but others as well. And in spite of everything we went through together, all the fights, the police, the hospitals, the fightings, the education, the love, the whole mixture of this life, I couldn't wait to see them and to hug them. And I ran downstairs. I was hoping they would stay there. Why did they stop there and taking photos of the castle in front? I don't know why. When I came downstairs, those kids saw me, and especially those 2 that I was talking about, they hugged me like they're never gonna see me again. And they were actually fighting. She was more ours. No, but she was ours first. And, this attachment is essential for the education, of course, especially in residential homes. But on my side, it's great responsibility. It was great love for sure, I know. But it also was difficult to work with that. And we didn't have any supervision. The story is that it's really strong, powerful, not weapon. It's the way it should be.
And the instrument.
And the instrument,
And they were fortunate to have you.
Yeah.
And I can tell that you were very fulfilled by that as well,
I
even though it
was.
was very hard. Yes.
It was hard. And it was hard to leave. And I left because it was too much. We didn't have supervision. We didn't have any kind of support, which is a problem in our public systems.
And we're afraid to get involved. Yeah. And that's true. It is. We're afraid to get involved. And it's important not to take our needs to the children, because sometimes it's easy to do that. But even though it gets messy, it's still the only way it works. It's the only way it works is when children, students give their hearts to us, then we can fulfill our responsibilities for them. And so we need to win our children back.
I just gasped for air when you said no supervision, because for me it's like, this is one of the reasons why
I will correct myself. We got 3 sessions.
3 sessions are a lot.
We just had an argument in the team. That's all
just
it
for the
did.
people who are not from Medvode, I'm so glad to work here because we have supervision and because we stick together here. This is one of the ideas of the Initiative for Mental Health of Youth, that the professionals and other people are really stick together and help each other, and we have supervision from Xenia, and we help each other also in a real time, very quickly, with technology. With Daria, who is also a member of Initiative, our policewoman, we talk a lot about neglecting, that our children are neglected, just left there neglected, that parents are working so hard till the hours, or on the laptop, I have to send email, leave me alone, or they're really neglected in a traditional way, like without food, not clothed properly. What to do in these situations?
Well, this is the tragedy of the smallness of our nuclear family now, that there's not more depth in our care. for that depth. I think nowadays, for parents these days, many of them need to lean on their friends a little bit, that if you're going to be my friend, you also come in as a surrogate uncle, a surrogate aunt, and rebuild with some grandparents there, because the weight on parents is unbelievable these days. All indigenous cultures are grandparent-centric, and because that's where the weight should go.
To the grandparents.
It should go to the grandparents.
Yeah. Okay, just one small story with one girl. I was working in youth center. She was receiving she was 12. How much money she received daily, pocket money? She was from very wealthy Slovenian family. 12 years each day, 200 on the table. The mother is influencer on OnlyFans, and the father is working for one of the greatest banks in Slovenia. They don't talk to the children, they give money. 200 euros per day. She was 12. Neglected in other way, not just in a way neglected they don't have clothes or food, but neglected on the other spectrum. Okay, where are you now? What do you want? What do you need? What do you need now? We are coming slowly to the end, and we want an answer to my first question. What we are doing wrong, and something we can stick for the next days, months, years also.
Hi. I'm
Oh!
I'm not from your town.
Last row, we don't see. Please, technician, put down the light. Where are the people?
But yesterday I got a comment from my son, who is 13 years old, and he said, because he has some problems with some teachers in school, and he said, Mom, it's so difficult to be us, the teenagers. And I was like, okay, tell me more. And he said, you all want us to act like adults, but when we do it, we are guilty, and we are taken to, we have to be ashamed of this kind of actions, and we are in detention in school or anything else. And he said, we are really not respected. We don't get that respect, and why should I give that respect back? Mm-hmm. And I think this goes with vandalism and everything else, because then I was thinking, I'm from other city, but also in our city there's a problem with vandalism also. And I think that a lot of that vandalism is connected with this disrespect, because all the children that come from other countries, or that they have problems with health or anything, they have those
Nicknames? No?
Ne, odločbo, da imajo.
So that the government gives the paper that they have additional support, pedagogical hours or so on.
And all the
because
rest,
of the ADHD or ADDD or
all the rest are without it. And those children feel disrespected, because they don't, when they react, they are punished. When the others react, they are not punished. And then they go to destroy the community's
Okay.
property. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a tribute to you as a mother that your son would have that conversation with you. That's music to my ears, that he can share those concerns with you and have you understand, so on. It also speaks what you say to the universal hunger we have to be valued, to matter, to be important. And if we can, if they can matter to the right people, if we can communicate to us, this is what we need to remember, that their hunger for the attachment is the same, but we are their best bet, and they don't know that. And we need to step up to be that answer, because they can only find fulfillment from us. But they're hungry for the same thing we all are. That invitation to exist in another's presence. Somebody to be absolutely crazy about us, want to be around us. That there's some warmth there. There's some significance and mattering. It's when they've come closed off to it, when they become bitter, when they become antagonistic, that it's hard to realize that we need to get through to their heart and being able to meet the needs that are underneath, to be able to calm all of that, all of those symptomology manifestations, to be able to address that and not just react to those symptoms.
I heard a lot about I also work a lot with self-harm kids and suicidal kids, and I heard a lot about, they are just attention seekers. Probably you heard about it. But the attention or love, I think it's a basic thing that we all need.
Well, why wouldn't we go for attention?
What else is there?
That's the worst thing to accuse a child
Yes.
of. All you want is attention. What else is there to go for?
Yeah.
All you want is food? Yes, please.
Yes.
I mean, this is a basic
Feed me.
human need. Please hear me. Please listen to me. Please attend to me. Please like me. Please love me.
Tamara?
That's the thing. I mean, we see the behavior, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't, we react to it, and yet, this is a big part of what I do when I'm helping parents or teachers, is helping them just see the child differently. Because when that's all we see, we don't, underlying that, all the things we've been talking about, they're in a defended place. Something is too much. They're frustrated. They've got all of this emotion that needs somewhere to go, and they're not feeling respected. They're not feeling seen, and they've come out of the as my father says, the cascading care. They've come out of the attachments that they're meant to be part of. They're not looking to the teachers. They're not looking to their parents, and yet they need us desperately. So how do we see what they need and help soften their hearts enough so that they can receive it? And that's the challenge, and there's no easy way to do that, and that's the problem. There's not a quick fix for this, and it's like you were saying, we've tried, and now we'll keep trying, keep going, because you're on the right path, right? You don't know when that's going to shift, but we've got to throw everything at this. We've got to find a way. And
This is wonderful.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
This
They're
is
still staying
wonderful.
here. They don't want to go home and watch telenovelas from Mexico, or some reality show or something. You're still here. Why? What do you want? Yes, last row. This is our doctor, also member, one of the co-founders of the initiative. Hi,
Hello.
Anya. I was
Hello.
not sure where are you,
Yeah.
because you're not in the first rows.
I'm here.
Okay.
To take care of the back row. So yeah, I'm a local pediatrician, and I care deeply for all these kids that we are talking about today. And I see many things, many of them. And I would like to give a message. What I feel from people is that, this child is problematic, has this and these problems, he's aggressive, he's whatever, let's go to pediatrician. We will refer them somewhere to some special units that will take care of them. And today we are hearing all about attachment, and my message would be, that our services, they won't take care of these kids in that way. This is an illusion, and it's my deep frustration at work. These kids are put in detention homes, they are put in hospital wards, they are put in all restricted environments, and there they are, diagnosed, they get punished, they get all sorts of treatments to behave better. They want to be changed, but they are not seen as this, that this deep, pure, good part is not seen as it should be. And there are not people who would attach, who would give this attachment. They are not there, and these people are here in the community. This would be my message. So I can be this person for some of those kids, but not for all of them. And for some of those kids, it can be a neighbor, it can be a teacher, whoever, you know, a local seller, a woodworker. So if one child per one person, if the parents fail, if they don't have the capacity, there are so many other people we have to take care of them on a community level, and don't rely on services because they won't do their job, they won't attach to them. So this would be my message.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, slowly but surely we are coming to the end of our gathering. And this is 100 people here. You're still sitting, listening, you're active, asking comments. The community is not just the people that are together in one place. Community for me is people communicating. Also in Slovenia we have a lot of tradition that you put in some room some people, excuse me, and you said this is already a team because they came from the Center for Social Work, from the hospital, from the school, and this is team already. This is not a team. This is just 3 people in a room trying to figure out why the hell I'm here. But team means teamwork. Also community means communicate. So now you came from different towns also, I understand, different approaches and so on and so on. But now we are slowly coming to the closure. So the answer to our question will be what? Are we doing something wrong? Tamara encouraged us several times, keep going. This is a long run, I think. There are not quick solutions. With vandalism, it's not a quick solutions. In the January, we were quite happy here in Medvode. We were working fine, and now in March, we came to the ground that we still need to work. It's not like one quick answer and not just the police with the blue lights and take them to detention or whatever. Okay, what else? Relationships matters. Again, attachment matters. What else? What do you get from this? Respect. Yeah, what about the courage? Also to go a little bit further. Also in pedagogue, that there is something that we learn on faculty. I don't fucking care about it because I cannot use it. I'm a psychologist, and we didn't practice 1 hour with children. We just read books. So I learned my skills from the social workers because they are practical, not from psychology. So do you need to be courage a little bit to go further, to say to your principal or to your boss like, okay, let's try this. Is this also a message? Can be this a message? Read good books. This is really a good book. Not just because I said like, it's not, I don't get it. I don't get paid from Gordon like in my pocket.
I was just going to say, I paid him.
Corruption in Slovenia is what else? What is our conclusion? Because I want that it's a dramaturgical, this arch. There was an introduction and we have a jedro. And then we come to closure. With what are you going home out of this, to the coffee or to your families, to your work together tomorrow? At 7 o'clock there still will be, yes, hello. Mm-hmm.
And just be together, make some events like in the school or whatever. And also, I heard it's difficult to soften the kids' heart if we don't have our hearts.
Yeah.
Adults, we don't have.
Yes.
Urshka. Yeah, okay. Pressure. Bureaucracy. We don't have time. We don't have time. Oh my God. Urshka? Yeah.
We adults have to deal with our attachment, and we have to open our hearts and be courageous. Have that courage. I think that is
The kids are not mean. The kids are just kids. They just react or respond to something in environment. direct to us, to the society that is broken. Urška? Yeah. Maybe with microphone will be easier because there is a lot of people there in the darkness in the last rows, and they're also curious.
There was something Eva said yesterday on the seminar, and she said when these kids are not listening to us and not paying attention to us, and we try to get their attention, and when we finally get their attention, what they see is an angry face.
Yeah.
So what kind of face also, yeah, but that's what are we, what's the message we're giving them? Do they see smiling adult faces? Do they see warm eyes? Do they see sparkles? Probably not, so that's...
Kindness can be easy. Kindness is cheap, to be kind to the children. Yeah. Also, yeah. I'm very proud that here is also my mentor. She teaches me a lot. She's a psychologist. Yeah, Urška, hi. And when we were working in some area of Ljubljana, Fužine it's called, where there is a lot of people from Bosnia, from Serbia, Croatia, and so on, but also with schools around, I remember something, and I was so happy that you said today, Gordon. There was a school that no parents came to this roditeljski sestanek, to the meeting of the parents, Nobody, just 5 of them, and the 5 of them were very, the ones with the paper, like, very scared, like, oh yes, there is drugs, there is grass, okay. So there was an idea from the principal how to encourage more parents, and there was a teacher who said, like, but the parents are meeting there at the Bocha, at the Balinan, yes. So, the Bocha place, and they're there every Friday, and they make cevapčići, and they drink beer, and they're there on Friday and Saturday. So my idea was, okay, let's do the meeting there. And the principal said, no, this is not in our teaching program. But today, Gordon said, like, okay, let's go to the social activities. Let's say we are all humans. And with children, we have a great workshop in our school in Preska a few days ago about ADHD, and one thing that I remember from my colleague, it's like we are talking human to human, not adult to children, human to human. It's a human thing, and so it's also the same with parents. The parents are also human. They have problems, we have problems. It's not like I know the shit because I went to the faculty and the parent is faculty. Good Freudian slip. Okay, I will stop here. Okay.
Thank you. The message you asked. So I think that also the burnout face can't be the smiling face. So I see a lot of burnout adults, teachers, who can't connect because they are burnout. But let's start, the message that I am holding on to is like, let's start with really, really small steps. Let's start with saying hello to each other with a smiling face. With all, in all the communities. So let's say yesterday when I meet you, please, just connect with me, okay?
Full stop here. Go out, have coffee, be nice to each other, say hello. First, now in English still, and then I go to Slovenian a little bit. Thank you very much, Tamara and Gordon, for your time. I know that this was not the first lecture of today. Are you tired? Yes, you are. It's enough, huh? It's okay. This is a small gift from our school, from our art teacher and principal. Artworks of our children. Yeah, I have it on my desk also. I like it a lot. So thank you very much for your thoughts, your energy, your heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this invitation.
Yeah, and the last words in Slovenian, because I have to thank for the people who Ja, tale dogodek ne bi bil možen brez spet sodelovanja večjih ljudi. Napisani so gor, ISA Institut, ampak Mateja danes ni, ali nekje je ni. Če to moja sošolka z faksa, ena od tistih, ki je bila fajn, ker pri psihologih je to redka dobrina. Neufeldom Institut, Ja, ona tudi, ja. Potem seveda naša Iniciativa za duševno zdravje mladih Medvode, so organizatorji, pa seveda Slovenska krovna zveza za psihoterapijo, Sotočje, zavod Sotočje, klub Jedro, hvala ekipi za snemanje, odlični, you're great for recording our session. In seveda tudi občini Medvode, ki ima posluh za to vrstne dogodke. Zdaj se pa družite in delajte skupnost. Hvala vsem. Čau.